Good morning. I'm Ron Miscavige, and this is another lesson in life. Or life lesson, or what the hell ever we're going to call this. I guess one of these days I'll make up my mind and I'll come in and just say, boom, that's it. So before I get into today's story, I want to describe something to you, because I'm going to be talking about this. And I'm going to be talking about a thing called the cinder bank. Now, there was a coal mining operation near my hometown of Mount Carmel, Pennsylvania, in the early 1900s called a Sayre shaft. And they used coal, obviously, to heat up the mine. That's the only fuel they would use. And the leftover coal from being burnt to heat up the mine when the miners were going down produced cinders. And what they did with those cinders, on the north side of town, there was a slight slope of a mountain. It wasn't a tall mountain, it was a young mountain. That's what they call these smaller mountains, I think. And what they did is they poured the cinders on that mountain, and it produced this. I don't know if you can see that. That's okay. Now, here is the outline of the mountain, and they were dumping the cinders like that, and this produced kind of a plateau at the top, but then they kept on pouring them over the edge, and it produced that slope. Now, this was hard, compacted cinders. You could drive a dump truck on that. This, if you were to start running down this, your foot would go into the cinders almost up to your ankle. So it was very soft. So you could run, leap straight out like that and come down, and the cinders, the loose cinders, would absorb all the shock. Okay? So I want to make sure you got that, because this is part of the story. Now, this took place when I was a kid, obviously. And we were gathered around the place, which was the end of a street in my hometown, and there was a little wall built up of huge rocks, and we used to refer to it as the wall. This evening, we're there, a bunch of us kids, and there was a kid there named Nick Kabilis, and he said, listen, I'm going to go up to the top of the cinder bank, and I'm going to set off some dynamite. Who wants to go? So before I could think about it, the words come out of my mouth, and I said, I'll go. And I thought, Jesus Christ, what did I agree to? You know, the antenna went up. But I'll tell you why I agreed. Nick Kabilis had a reputation. He was a tough guy, and the reputation was this, and the word was out that if he got pissed off at you and you got into an altercation with him, he could knock you out with one punch. So I figured, well, I'm going up with this guy. He's strong. He's a tough guy. Nothing's going to happen. Okay. So now we climb up the cinder bank. And remember, just to show you one more time, we come up. And this was a hell of a trek getting up that, because your feet would sink into the cinders. Finally, we get to the top of the cinder bank. And he has 3 sticks of dynamite. So he pulls out a knife and he cuts them in half. So now we have 6 sticks of dynamite. Takes a blasting cap and puts it in each one of them. The blasting cap looks like a copper cartridge, almost like a bullet, except there's no projectile. And the end is open, and it's fitted to the fuse that was sold in those days to set it off. So you would take the blasting cap, put it in the dynamite, which actually was like wet sand. I don't know if any of you ever saw that, but if you have, that's what it looks like. And we put the cartridge in and took off and cut about 1 feet of fuse. Now, we knew from our experience from playing with dynamite that it would take about a minute for that fuse to hit the dynamite. So he cuts it off. It's about 1 foot long, and he spaces them maybe, I would say, 3 or 4 feet apart. So now, it's a little bit windy up there, so he goes to the first stick, and the sticks are, it's a half stick laid out, 6 of them, 6 half sticks, and the blasting cap. He lights the first fuse, no problem. Goes to the second one, lights the second fuse, no problem. Goes to the third one. Now the wind blows the match out. So he lights another match, and that one lights up. Now this is going along, and I'm thinking, why didn't we bring a railroad flare? Now, any of you who are not familiar with that, in those days, the railroad had a flare, and it was like a striker at the end, and you would hit that on the cement or something, and that flare would go off. And that son of a bitch, you could throw it in water, and it would still burn. So I figured if we had a flare, he could hit it, and we're done. Now we're at the fifth one, and I'm looking at the first one, and you can see the fuse is getting close to that goddamn stick of dynamite. And I'm thinking, Nick, I'm thinking to myself, what the hell did I get myself into here? Jesus Christ, he could blow us up. So finally, he gets to the last one, lights it, it hits. At that point, we ran right into the air, right off the edge of the cinder bank, went down, and by the time our feet hit the cinders, maybe 20 feet down, that first stick blew up. Now I'm thinking as I'm running down, what if one of the sticks goes off and the concussion of it blows the sticks down on us and blows our goddamn head off? Thank God it didn't happen. Finally, the sixth one went off, and finally we ran down and we went to the wall where everybody was waiting. There was maybe 4 or 5 of our buddies there. And my heart's beating, and it wasn't just from running. I thought, Jesus Christ, man, what did I get myself into here? So I was taking off my shoes to get the cinders out, because if you stayed in it, your feet, the shoes were full of cinders, and they'd cut your feet. And a couple of my buddies said, hey, how was it? How was it? So they said, it was cool, pretending like I'm used to this shit. That was bullshit, man. It scared the hell out of me. Now, what's the lesson here? I'll tell you what the lesson is. Know before you go. Now, this is something that you can take as a bit of wisdom here. If you're going to get involved in something that you don't know anything about, find out about the people you're going to do it with. What's their reputation, if there is any. Find out what you're going to be doing. Know a little bit about what it is that you're going to be doing. You see, this is good advice I'm giving you. So if you know before you go, then you're going to get involved in things that you have more certainty on. You'll be more causative in making sure that you come out of it alive. Well, most things you don't have a chance of dying, but if you were going to go on a scuba diving trip with somebody, what would you want to know? The guy who filled up the tanks with oxygen, how many minutes of oxygen in is it? Put a valve on it and let me see you got 100 pounds of oxygen in there. That's what you would want to know. That's not something you would say, oh, that's okay, fine, I trust them. They're bullshit. Make sure you get details about stuff like that. Now, on the other hand, the hell with it. Take a shot. Do any goddamn thing. Take a chance on what's going to happen. And sometimes you'll get into an adventure that you'll have a great time with it. Other times you may get knocked around a bit. But listen, there are many ways to live life. And it can't be that every goddamn thing you do, you're going to know everything about it. There's some randomness or little things that happen that you don't account for. Well, as they come up, handle them. But you can balance your life out that way and have some adventure and have some steadiness, okay? Like if you were going to be a school teacher, well, okay, you should go to college. You should learn about the subjects you're going to teach and how to teach children or how to teach adults or whatever. On the other hand, if there's somebody that says, hey, let's go and do something, you don't know anything about it? Yeah, what the hell? I'll take a shot at that. So by balancing these two of the things that you know before you go with those things that you don't know a goddamn thing, but you're willing to do it for the adventure of it, you can lead a pretty interesting life. And in my life, I've done maybe more than the not knowing anything about it stuff, but I've had a lot of adventures. I got to tell you that. But I'm giving you some words of wisdom today when I say know before you go. That is a more survival way to live your life. And then throw in the other stuff and you can have some fun with that. So I think that was the point I wanted to make, and I hope you benefit from this. And if you get a chance, you go to my website. Well, of course, you're probably on it now if you're watching this, but you'll see that I do other things. I've written some books, some humorous, some not too humorous, and I interview other people, and you can see what that's all about. And on the other hand, if you care to support this a bit, you can become a patron and go on my website, therealronmiscavige.com. It'll show you how you can become a patron, and I'd appreciate it if you would, because I don't have any sponsors. Therefore, I can do anything I want to do, and nobody's telling me I can't give you this lesson or that lesson. So here you are. You're taking advantage of the fact that this is kind of freewheeling. I'm doing what I feel like doing. Anyway, I appreciate you tuning in. Get other people to do the same, and let's get some people educated in some of these words of wisdom. I'm talking from experience, so this is not things I've read in the book, and I'm repeating it like a pallparrot to you. This is from my experience in life itself. Anyway, I enjoy talking to you, and I'm really glad you're tuning in. So, up until the next episode, I'm Ron Miscavige, and this is Life Lessons, or Lessons in Life. See you on the next story. Bye-bye.